Well, I think first of all, I have to congratulate the Senate President and the leadership of the Senate for guiding us through what has been, to my mind, a very successful year. If you discountenance the COVID issues, which had to truncate some of our agenda. Generally, the agenda, the Ninth Assembly has done well. First of all, in the area of improved relations with the executive, we can see that there's been a slight improvement an improvement in the relation between the executive and the legislature. We've seen a lot of cooperation in terms of the ministerial list and other key legislation, the new budget cycle and so on, where there's been cooperation between the executive and the legislature to bring about the brand new budget cycle, which meant that we returned the budget cycle to the January-December cycle. This could not have been done without cooperation by both arms of government. So that, and along with other major legislation, the issues of the petroleum upstream legislation and other things, we've seen that there's been a lot of cooperation between the two arms of government, and this has enhanced progress in the country.
Just finally, before I let you go, sir, talking about cooperation between the executive and the legislature. Yesterday, the PDP asked the federal government to stop incessant borrowings. So talking about cooperation, and also
you'll discover that in the Senate, we have tried to cooperate as where possible with the Senate, but we've also resisted things that are brought from the executive, which we do not necessarily agree with. But a lot of the times, we try to make sure that that is done in a way that we can move the country forward. What were we talking about now? You said the borrowing. Now, the issue of borrowing, we in the PDP are worried about the borrowing. We had a meeting yesterday and we're quite worried about the borrowing. But I think that at this time, some of those borrowings have become necessary because we need to fund our budget. The issue is that whether going forward, borrowing will reduce so that when we're not in an emergency situation and so on, we can reduce our borrowing. And also the capacity to refund. Borrowing is never the issue. The issue is always the capacity to repay, and whether those funds are being used to invest in the economy in such a way that that economy can repay the borrowing. And I think that is the area that we have to focus on, ensure that funds that are borrowed are invested properly in the economy to create the kind of economic growth and stimulus that will enable us to pay back and service, not so much payback, but service those debts. And I think that is the focus in the National Assembly. So our focus is more on how those funds are invested, the utilization of those funds, and whether they are used to grow the economy in order for the economy to service those debts.